This is the podcast, Your Spiritual Shift, with hosts Jennifer Matthews and Karl Gruber. Your Spiritual Shift podcast. It's a show based on their online program of the same name. That's where Karl and Jen guide you to remember and implement into your daily life the truth about who you really are, a child of all that is, your source. We invite you to join Jen and Karl for each and every episode as they explore in depth the teachings and principles of true non-dualistic spirituality and their practical application. You can live your life without the ego's lack, attack, judgment, and guilt, and thoughts of sin, and replace them with truth, unconditional love, innocence, pure joy, abundance, and a unity of purpose. Now, here's Jennifer Matthews and Karl Gruber with Your Spiritual Shift.
Hey there, welcome to the Your Spiritual Shift podcast, where I am Jennifer Matthews, one of the hosts, and right next to me is Karl Gruber, the co-host. Today we're actually going to be speaking about the 3 pillars, and this is actually something that is going to be included within our program, and it does have a module in there to teach you how you can actually combine the 3 pillars, which is incredibly important. So Karl was actually the creator of the 3 pillars. So I'm going to hand you over to him to explain a little bit about it, and then we're going to just go a bit back and forth to explain it to you. Hey Karl, how you doing?
Great as usual, especially when I'm talking to you and talking about what we talk about. I love this.
Absolutely.
Welcome everybody.
It's fun.
To the podcast, Your Spiritual Shift. Again, this is part of our upcoming program, a 12-week-long program. And as Jen said, we are going to have a full module on this, what I call the 3 pillars of your life, based on my 2014 ebook that I wrote called The 3 Pillars, a simple 3-step process to manifest positive and permanent change in your life. And, Jen, I've seen a lot of different books and postulations that, there are this pillar of that, a lot of books with the name The Pillars. And the reason a pillar is such a great symbol is because a pillar is one of those structures within a foundation, holding up the weight of the entire structure. And for me, how it came about, being a law of attraction life coach and a ardent student of A Course in Miracles, I realized that to become a consistent co-creator with the universe and manifest the things in your life that you want consistently, manifest the good, healthy, happy, abundant, joyful things in your life, you have to walk in upright. I like to call it, you have to walk upright in the integrity of all that is, the love and oneness and truth of our real home, of being home with our Creator. Anything other is ego-based, where everything is inconsistent and based on contrast and conflict and drama and varying emotions. And so when I first got into this, even before I wrote the 3 pillars, I was trying to figure out, well, how can I become a consistent co-creator? I can manifest a few simple little things, but I've heard, well, if it's the greatest law in the universe, well, then why shouldn't I be able to attract the big, happy, healthy goals and desires and things that I want in my life? And I finally realized that to do so, like I mentioned earlier, you have to shift. You have to shift out of the ego mentality and walk in alignment with truth, universal true spirituality, non-dualistic truth. And what this does is it rectifies your 3 pillars. And the 3 pillars of your life are mental, physical, and spiritual. And very, very important. So they hold up the roof. But if you're coming at life from that wild variation of ego-driven thoughts and paradigms and beliefs, well, one of those pillars can develop a crack. And actually all 3 of them can develop a crack. And
what's very interesting too when we begin to evolve spiritually, as we do, and we go through our spiritual awakening, and we're enlightened, and sometimes we can forget that even though we are wanting to suppress that ego and evolve spiritually, at the same time we do still have a body, and we still do need to look after this body, because it is our temple, and it is what houses our spirit. It's what houses who we are. And so to have your physical body in peak condition as well is really, really critical. And I found that the time that I awakened the most spiritually was once I had actually regained my health again.
Mm-hmm.
Once I had actually started to focus on my fitness, and focus on my nutrition, and focus on all of the physical aspects that we need to take control of, because we don't want to forget about that. As much as we do need to really focus on that spiritual side and start to connect with our higher self, because that is what my purpose is to help people to connect with their higher self. And as much as we want to be doing that and focusing on that and doing our meditations and having that quiet time, I do an afternoon walk, which is funny, because my kids and my husband have often asked to go on the walk with me, and I say no. I say this is one walk that nobody's allowed to come on with me.
Very smart.
And the reason being is because it is a time for me and my higher self to connect.
Mm-hmm.
It is a time for me to connect with Source, and to be able to quiet so that everything can keep coming in, so that all the downloads come through, so that all the manifestations that we're trying to put in front of us starts to come into fruition. And you can't do that unless you can actually hear what Source is trying to tell you. So that is really, really important. And then when you talk about the mental side of it, well, we have limited beliefs that are instilled in us from such a young age, that unless we work on getting our subconscious mind into the right space, into changing those limited beliefs to that which is going to be more positive for us, that's going to start to produce those manifestations, then we're not going to be balanced throughout our life, and we're not going to have those manifestations come to us, like Karl said, those massive manifestations that we're wanting to bring into our life. Karl's had some incredible stuff happen to him, as have I, and I think that it's in all areas, and we're not just talking about money, but we're talking about health, and we're talking about relationships, and we're talking about all different things that happens. So that's my bit of a spiel. What do you reckon, Karl?
Well, and it's here's what we're talking about. Everything that you say lines up with trying to keep your pillars from having a crack in them. And crack, of course, is not an acronym. It's a symbol of the problems and the ego-driven problems in our life. So again, that leads to inconsistency in your life. And believe me, it's not easy. I mean, I've been studying this stuff forever, and every day I'm still, oh wait, there's a little crack over there in my pillar. I better look at that, And so here's what you have to do. If you suspect that you have some small or big cracks in one of your pillars, or all three of them, you have to, it's called the 3 F's. So you have to find them, then you have to face them, and then you have to fix them.
Yeah.
And that's the only way, when you realize, and a lot of people don't even realize that they have a crack, because they haven't studied or allowed themselves to become more aware about these things. But that's what we're doing here, trying to help them. And you have to face them. You have to face them head on. And sometimes we don't want to, because we're fearful.
It's painful.
We're afraid. Yeah. And also I'd like to go back, Jen is a naturopath, and she knows what she's talking about, with exercise and good nutrition. Sure. If you're a non-dualistic spiritual student, well, of course, well, the body is just an illusion. Why should I
Yeah.
take care of it? But again, if you utilize exercise and good nutrition and all the other things to keep your physical pillar strong, again, we always say this, the general correlation is that good fitness and nutrition allow you to have a better quality, happier, healthier, more productive life. When Jen does her martial arts or whatever it is, and I go for a run, well, I can tell you it relieves a lot of stress. It gives you, I mean, any form of exercise, whether you're doing
it puts you in a different state of mind.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If you don't have some form of physical activity, if you don't eat the right foods, then it puts you into a more suppressed state of mind. And so we are still living, even though our body is an illusion, we are still living on the earth. And unless you are sitting in the fifth dimension where you're not living this third dimension experience, which we will go into throughout the course. So because it is too in depth to discuss at this point of time. But if you are in the third dimension, you are living where we are, then you do have to take care of your body. It's going to affect everything around you. If you are happy, then your vibrations are naturally higher, and you're therefore going to be able to manifest at a much greater rate. You're going to be able to connect with spirit, because spirit only resides in states of joy. Spirit is pure love. And so if we're feeling anything but pure love or pure joy, then it's very difficult to connect with spirit, because they cannot actually get through. Source cannot get through unless you're in that state of love and excitement and, those higher vibratory feelings. So, and just looking after your body and being fit and being healthy and being confident and being in your space is really important to bring you up to that level. And that's why we say the 3 pillars is really important to keep each 3 of them. They're equally as important as each other. And so we don't want to forget one of them. So that's just my big.
Well, and here's the whole point, and we're going to go much more in depth in this in our 12-week program, but this is just to give you guys watching and listening and understand, at least a little bit of understanding of this. And the whole point is, if you can keep your mental, physical, and spiritual pillars strong, this allows your house to stand strong for the ages on a rock solid personal foundation. And of course, all of this is, I keep a metaphor. That's it. I knew I was looking for that word. A metaphor for your life, life. And who doesn't want to have live a happy, healthy, positive, joyful, loving life? I mean, we all want that, but the ego keeps throwing all of these inconsistencies. But by learning this stuff, you can do this. You can make your house stronger, your life stronger and healthier. You can do it. And we invite you to join us in our program to learn a lot more about this. It's so fun. I love talking about this.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually really excited. The program is looking fantastic. We're excited to be bringing this content to you so that you can learn about non-dualistic spirituality. You can learn about the 3 pillars. You can learn about manifestation and how you can start to manifest in your life by staying in those states of joy and excitement. And that's not to say that we don't have bad days, because everybody has bad days. Everybody has days where we veer away from we veer more towards our ego, and we allow our ego to jump in there, and we might, there are times that you might judge somebody else, and then you have to step back and go, oi, that's not spirit talking, that's my ego talking, and we've got to back off on that. But we are human, and it does happen, and don't beat yourself up over it. Stuff happens that we if you slip on building these pillars and you have a crack in the pillar, it's okay. It's about facing it, like Karl said. sometimes when something happens, we don't want to face it because it's too painful, or it's makes us uncomfortable, and we don't like to get outside of our comfort zone because it's difficult to do. So it's important that once you've figured out what these cracks are, figured out what will truly make you happy, what will truly bring you to those places of joy, so that you can connect on the other levels. And that comes down to also altering those limited beliefs, working on your mindset so that you recognize that, our outside world is created by our inside thoughts and feelings and emotions. So we need to change our thoughts and change our thought patterns and our belief system to be able to change what is happening on the outside of us. And so in Karl's 3 Pillars, and you can actually grab Karl's 3 Pillars book from his website as well, and I'm going to let Karl give you all the details for that if you want to read up more about it. And in there he's got some fantastic affirmations that you can use, because affirmations are fantastic when it comes to retraining those subconscious beliefs. And I use them all the time. You can also do things like subliminal messages, which are fantastic, and often I'll do that when I'm doing other stuff, because your brain cannot actually physically, your ears cannot actually physically hear it, but your brain does. Mm-hmm. So you can do it when you listen to music or whatever. And I'm actually looking at doing a few subliminal tracks that we can include in the course that will help you to actually start to retrain those limited beliefs, because I think it's important to really focus on that with the 3 pillars. And Karl's got I think there's 3 or 4 of affirmations for each in the book.
Pretty much, yeah. Some couple of how-tos and that. But Jen, I'm gonna wind up here just quickly, and one I say find your cracks, face them, fix them. Well, if you can practice non-dualistic spirituality as taught in the Course in Miracles and many other programs, and strengthen your spiritual pillar. So if you do find cracks in your mental, physical, and even the spiritual, but if you have a strong spiritual pillar, then when you face that crack in the pillar, trying to fix it, you can go there with spirit, knowing that spirit has your back on you, back for you. And so if you're afraid to face that issue that has put a crack in your spiritual, in one of your pillars, then you do so with confidence, because spirit is there for you in every moment. Trust and faith, and it's a real thing. It has real power. As we know, everything is energy, and this is all in perfect alignment. And thank you, Jen. I will tell people that if you do want a copy of my free ebook, The 3 Pillars, a simple 3-step process to manifesting positive and permanent change, go to my website, karlgruberlifecoach.com. That's Karl, and then Gruber is Gruber, lifecoach.com. Click on the header that says About Me, and there you can just click on the button to get a free download of my ebook. And I think it'll be worthwhile for you.
Yeah. It's definitely a good little read that will teach you a lot more about the 3 pillars. As we said, it's also going to be included within the program, because it is really important. And if you start to learn to live with spirit's guidance, with listening to your higher self, listening to source, and understanding about non-dualistic spirituality, and understanding that everything around us is an illusion, that we create the world that we live in, then you will start to be able to live your life in states of flow, which is what we're all aiming for. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode, and we look forward to speaking to you next week on another amazing episode.
And
Thank you, Karl.
I'll tell you, Jen, I have solidified my pillars so well.
Yeah.
I live in the States where it's snowing and it's 100 million below zero. And look, I manifested the rainbow in the middle of the summertime in this beautiful meadow. It works.
All
right.
You're funny, Karl.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. See ya.
Your Spiritual Shift, the podcast, is based on the program of the same name and is taught by your hosts, Jennifer Matthews, a certified naturopath and spiritual counselor, and Karl Gruber, a certified law of attraction life coach and spiritual counselor. Join us for each podcast as we explore in depth how to practically implement and integrate into your daily life true, non-dualistic spiritual practices to live a more enjoyable life based on the reality of your innocence and unity with your brothers and sisters at the source of all that is. Much love and light to you. Until next time, my friend.